We're live.
It's weird.
What's
Where's that coming from? It was like double.
Oh, you must have it. No. You must have like it open on a tab or something. I don't know.
All right, hold on.
I'm good on my end. Good thing we went early. We're live.
Oh. There it is. Sorry about that. I had it open another tab. Sorry, technical difficulties.
No, we went live, and I'm like, I didn't know. Am I supposed to open it up, or are you supposed?
What the hell is this? Just get rid of me, man. The senility is setting in, right? It's just, so. Okay, let's reset. How are you, sir?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Doing great. How about you, brother?
So I have to ask, are you guys real? Yes, we are real. This is not This is not done with mirrors. What does that mean?
I think that's because,
awesome. That was weird.
Foxy's in here giving us shit. She said we
Austin,
don't count.
You don't count. I said earlier I was fourth. Yeah,
right,
there we go. Let's see. Okay, here we got. It's Julian. Talk to me about Tsuka. Bought in way in the early stage, and now it's making noise. I don't know what you're held. What Tsuka? What is that? I don't know. No, I'm kidding. We're going to talk about Tsuka. Amazing project. I love what they're doing, and it's up today, man. Woohoo! I love it. Let's look at what's going on with the Tsuka from the price standpoint. I moved my windows around here. Hold on. There we go. So yeah, it's up 22%. It's been up as high today, Zach. What about 24, 25%, right?
Yeah, I think it got up to like that 8.6 range. At least it was a little bit ago. But yeah, I mean, a lot of altcoins running here today. So yeah, Tsuka. I'm curious, where'd you get in, Julian? Because this thing launched back in May of 2022. Yeah. I mean, there's some opportunities for some huge gains before a penny, well before a penny.
They got in. If they would have got in back last year, because they launched in May of 22.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be low. I wish I'd gotten in that early. It's hard because when projects come out, you just don't know, right?
Well, especially during that time, right? Because like May of 2022, that was just a terrible time in crypto. So a lot of people were checking out, right? Right. That was right around the Terra Luna stuff. And a lot of people just, maybe they were still tuned in, but they weren't looking for new projects as much. They were just kind of like, let me put this all on hold right now. Like, crypto's going to hell right now, and let me get away from it. Right. And so,
yeah.
But if you did get in, because a lot of their holders and their top community members, it was kind of like a safe haven place. It was like one of the only places you could go and be part of a great community and get some positive gains too.
Right. Speaking of their community members, so a couple of key members of their community might be able to make it. There's been some scheduling conflicts on Tsuka's side when we created this AMA for you guys, but if we get them to, if they're able to, what was it they said? Their bench is full, or no, their bench is like a baseball analogy. Their bench is
depleted.
Yeah, you're a sports guy. Help me out here, man.
They've they were trying to go deep in their bullpen to try to find somebody on the back end of the bullpen. But.
Yeah, there you go. So we may or may not have some. Oh man. Now we got to. Well, who let this guy in?
Hey, I was like, wait, these guys are live already.
Yeah, we went live. We were like, we were actually laying odds as to whether or not you would show up.
Oh no, man! At 5 o'clock. 5 o'clock. I was like, I'm gonna be there, but you guys
wanted to go early. He's like, let's just go. I'm like, all right,
we gotta make fun of you, man. We're not making fun of each other. We gotta make fun of somebody else, man. How are you, brother?
True. I'm doing good. How are you guys doing?
Oh, look, we got to see this. I think I have crabs.
Ooh.
Oh, no. Sorry. You got to have some levity. Ooh, that's not good, So, all right, there we go. All right. Pop, make sure you like and subscribe. Okay, so Pop.
Yes, I need to.
We were talking about this. I moved all my buttons, Zach. I got used to them. What do you think about the chart action today, man? Looking good, Tsuka.
Yeah, I sent out a tweet. I was like, man, the whole market right now has been booming. I don't know. Bitcoin, Ethereum, it was funny because
let's see what we got here. It's dialed back a little bit as far as percentage gain there, but Bitcoin's running. And why do you think Ethereum's not running as hard as Bitcoin? I'm just curious what your opinion is.
So what I think is happening is it all started from that ex-Coinbase CTO's tweet that went viral. It had like, I think 30 million plus views at this point.
Yep.
And he was talking about the $1 million Bitcoin in the next 90 days.
Mm.
He's like, I'll bet $1 million on that actually happening. And so I think a lot of people that were already in crypto started like shifting their funds around from altcoins, meme coins back into Bitcoin, because you see Bitcoin dominance starting to create a huge gap. It's approaching 50% for the first time in I don't know how many years. So it's been interesting. I don't know. I've just been watching this market. I'm just watching the world right now because I don't know. It just seems, I don't know, like bad things are happening, but also maybe good for crypto. But I don't know.
Have you seen the news pop? Zach and I were talking about this about an hour ago. Zach,
From out of Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah, China.
Yeah.
And Russia made a similar announcement a week ago where they're going to settle all their, I think, high volume transactions instead of selling it with the U.S. dollar with the Chinese. I would say it wrong. Yuan, whatever I was. Yeah. What do you think about that, Paul? I'm just throwing you under the bus because
No. I mean, it's definitely like, it raises a brow. Like, what is happening right now? Are they really trying to take away the power of the U.S. dollar? But at the same time, what's this actually mean in practice, right? Because the dollar has been used as basically the universal currency, right? For every country worldwide. We compare, even when we look at crypto, for example, we always compare to the US dollar, right? Bitcoin's at 28K. So what happens when, now it's shifted to a Chinese currency like yuan, or if it's something like the euro? What does that actually mean? I don't know. But I watched the documentaries recently, and I would recommend everyone tuning into the stream. I was actually trying to find it, but it talked about basically what happens when there's an order change in the world, right? So the shift right now, there's an intersect where the US is on a decline in terms of their power, and China's on an incline, and they're approaching this intersect. And usually, historically speaking, when we hit this intersection, we see war break out, and either someone has to come up on top, right? But right now there's this big power shift in order. Is it going to be truly China as number one? And based off the debt that we're in the United States, and I don't know if you guys saw, the Federal Reserve operated at a loss for the first time ever. And I'm like, it seems like the case continues to be very bearish for the US dollar and the US economy. So I don't know. For me, I've been buying Bitcoin like crazy, and it might be a bad decision. I don't know, but
I don't think long term at all. I think
long term, you're right.
Yeah, and I think and we'll get back to Tsuka here in a minute, but I love that we're kind of talking about this macro world thing scenario as well. But I think I did a video on this today. I think the retest is 24. I think that that might be our short term retest. But if we get above 30, which is the emotional resistance level. And I even looked, and BitBoy was talking about this. There's a couple of people out there beyond that. And in that I really look to, and everybody seems to be saying the same thing, kind of 24 bottom, 30 resistance. If we get to 30 resistance, then we could be off and running, so I don't know. We'll see how it all plays out. But the worldwide stage stuff, man, it's a little spooky. It is.
It is.
You know what I think?
Yeah, go ahead. No, I found a link in the title of the video, and I'll send it to you guys after the stream. It's called "Principles of Dealing with the Changing World Order" by Ray Dalio. It's from a year ago. It has 30 million views on YouTube, and it showed up on my feed. It's a 43-minute video, and for us on YouTube, we know 2 minutes, 3 minutes, we're off the video. I watched every single second without clicking off because I was like, this is a year ago, and everything the man stated from a year ago is actually happening in real world. China making dealings with other countries, the Brazil, whatever that group is. I was just like, how did he get it almost exactly to the T, if not exact? So sorry, Zach. Yeah, go ahead, man.
No, I definitely want to check that out. I just wonder, like we make our our financial situation public in the US, right? Like there's like that website, you could see how much we're going in debt by the second.
Yeah.
The issue is though, like China doesn't, do that. And a lot of other countries don't do that. So like what kind of financial standing are these other countries really in? Do we even know? Right. So like, I don't know, but I think that's what kind of gives us all these questions too. Like, is their economy doing a lot better than the U.S.? I mean, from what I understand, like globally, we're all struggling, right? Like coming out of 2020, and obviously inflation, it's not a problem just here in the US. In fact, we know it's worse in Europe. We know it's, countries that do show us that data, it's worse.
Yeah. No,
Right?
I agree that transparency definitely isn't there from other countries. It's funny because Elon was interviewed somewhat recently and he was asked, how does it feel to be the richest person in the world? And he was like, are you kidding me? You think Putin doesn't have way more money than I do? Because if you don't think so, then you're living under a rock. So
trillionaire.
Yeah.
The Saudi princes, I mean, with big oil, like, come on. Like,
they're not disclosing. They're not disclosing.
Right. They just don't make it public.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm going to drive the bus back to Tsuka here. So Pop, I'm going to let you go first. Zach, you'll go, and then I can go third because I want to hear what you guys have to say. So Pop, you found and kind of got involved with Tsuka earlier than Zach and I did. And so what got your attention with Tsuka, and, just why and what? So give us a 2 cents on that.
So after I got back from my trip last year in 2022, when I was in Dubai for the crypto conference, like I met a lot of people there, a bunch of different developers, different projects that all of us have even worked with in the past. And it was a great experience, but it was a month and a half or so after when one of the developers reached out and said, hey, have you heard of the Tsuka token? And do you know if it's actually made by the SHIB developers? Because it seems like the picture is there based off certain wallets that they were looking at. He said, this seems like it's something that could be. And I was like, dude, he's not going to make.
Approximately when was this?
This was like soon after the token launch, but I literally I cut him off almost before he wanted to go into more detail. And I was like, you know what, man, I don't think Ryoshi is someone that's going to ever make a second project. And I'm not really interested in hearing anymore.
Okay.
Come few months after that, it's at $140 million $140 million market cap. I'm like, what is this thing? Like, now maybe I need to look into it further, but I still didn't. I was just like, it's probably some community token that someone created to just take the shrine or the light off of Shiba Inu and use that. But again, not till this year, maybe it was February, a couple months ago, the same thing happened. These individuals from their community reached out and they're like, hey, have you actually looked into this project? And I was like, not really, but I'm now kind of curious because this is the third time, right? Fool me once, fool me twice. Third time, like, okay, let me see what's going on here. And after actually looking into it and talking to some other people in their community, some of the SHIB community as well, they're like, things are adding up pretty well. And it seems like this actually could be Ryoshi's second project or his second vision. Or first vision, I guess it was. So it was.
I want to put something in context for the people watching this, right?
Yeah.
We see a lot of projects. We see a lot of new projects that come to us for looking for maybe sponsored coverage or whatever it is. And so I've done that as well. Zach's done that. I mean, it's not all. You don't always have the time and or the bandwidth to look at some of these. And of course, I know we could all go back and I look, because I love what Tsuka's doing. I didn't know about them, honestly, Pop, until you called and said, hey, there's something here, with Ryoshi and Tsuka. And I'm like, oh, okay. And that's when, Zach and I started looking at it. And I'm, of course, just amazed at what these guys have done and continue to do. So, yeah,
I agree.
Incredible.
Yeah.
I think too, I mean, the one point I always kind of lean on is they launched at like one of the worst times ever.
Oh yeah.
And they still have had all this success. Like they've launched right at the kind of peak of where the market just turned terrible, right? Like right around the Terra Luna stuff. And obviously we know what happened in the back half of last year with FTX. And it was kind of the start of, the downfall of crypto. Yet, like, Pop, to your point, they got to, $130 million market cap. They're still sitting somewhere at like, right around an $80 to an $85 million market cap. They haven't even seen a bull run yet. And they're still
83 million. Yeah.
And look at that chart too. I mean, just a, steady growth over time in a terrible time in the market.
Yeah, Zach, thanks for bringing that up. So whoever wants to go first, and I mean, this to me, I love this chart. I love the higher highs and the higher lows, and this is to me, and it's also ebbed and flowed with the cycles that we've seen in crypto, right? Some of these outside macro factors. So Zach, I'll let you go first. Take this and kind of what's your 2 cents on this chart? I mean.
Yeah, I mean, I think it had the big run up, and then usually what we see, right, is the sell off. People take the early profits, and then what happens, right? I think that on that first downfall, that really tells the full story. What happens next, and you can see what happened next. The hype didn't go away, right? It kept on coming, and then another pullback, and then it's like, okay, is this the end of the story? Is this where it ends? And here we go again, right back up, and now we're kind of consolidating, kind of gearing up. It feels like for that next big run up. So I'm excited.
Yeah. Pop, what's your 2 cents here?
I think Zach hit that, perfectly. You're just looking at the chart, and we know the reasons for each sell-off because, again, there are people who got in very, very early and held some sort of position, and we know some of the bigger whales. The most interesting thing about Tsuka is the biggest whale, or Tubba, he's doxed to the entire community. Yeah. He talks about him. He comes on camera. He discusses things with everyone. He's like, this is my vision for Tsuka. And he also talks about his exit plan, which I think oftentimes when we are in crypto, especially if you're early in on a project and it just blows up, it's hard for you to say, like, I do want to take profits at some point, but how are you going to actually do that without, wrecking the chart as we've seen time and time again? So we saw just people basically are selling off, and it's usually one or two really big whales that sold off their positions. And now that whale number one and whale number two are now out of the picture. They're no longer holding the token. So now the question becomes, what's going to stop from now exceeding or surpassing the previous all-time highs at that $160 million market cap or 16 cents?
I want to talk to you guys again, Pop. Sorry about that. I have dogs. UPS truck just drove by, just FYI. So there you go.
Up in the UPS guy.
The dog's attacking the UPS truck driving by my house. Okay, so Pop, I'm gonna ask you a question and then I'll mute. But no utility, right? The community is the utility. So Pop, you go first. Zach, go ahead, and since I seem to be steering this boat, so Pop, go ahead.
Shiba Inu copy paste. Right?
Yeah.
2020 SHIB launches at a time where the market wasn't doing hot. It doesn't make any sense. It's just a Dogecoin killer. That's the branding. That's the story behind it. And then they did some things for marketing and just a perfect storm, right? And for Tsuka, now that we've seen what SHIB has done before, and the big thing that people always say, is there ever going to be a next SHIB? Well, we have this token that might actually be the next SHIB. So people are saying, well, this could be now a 30, 40, 50x opportunity from where we're at now. Because we know Shiba Inu, even beyond that, I don't know what the all-time high market cap was, but it was like, what, 40 million or 40 billion, excuse me.
40 plus billion. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe even more. I can't recall right now. What was that?
Which is crazy.
It's nuts. So nuts. But I think, again, everyone's always in search of what is going to be the next Shiba Inu. And along the way, oftentimes you're going to make a mistake and buy tokens that aren't the next SHIB, and they just basically disintegrate because the community doesn't continue to work or push it. But we've seen it with Tsuka now. It's been over just about a year. Your 1 year anniversary is in May of 23, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's just been nonstop. Like, it's the community doing all the work. They don't have one person. Like, we have Shaitoshi, right? We have the breeds, we have these things. But for Tsuka, it's just there are community leaders, but it's really the community who's doing everything. And it's been incredible watching it for the last couple months.
Yeah, Zach, anyone add anything to that?
No, I think Pop nailed it. And I was going to say the same thing. It's a SHIB blueprint. I think they really focus on the fact that there are no one or two figures in here. It's just the community. It's completely decentralized. It is completely led by the community. And Austin, I don't know if you could pull up that top meme coin list, because when I'm looking for kind of like the next SHIB, I think you kind of have to be past like a threshold. Like, you have to be at least, probably a $50 million market cap and kind of been around for a while and then like sustained it. And I think they have, right? So like when you're looking at, the top meme coins, you've got Doge, you've got SHIB kind of in a league of their own. But then right underneath there, you've got about 6 or 7, and Tsuka's one of those. So, and I think, and again, you look at all these. Okay, so Doge and Shib lived through a bull market. Floki lived through a bull market. Bone has lived through a bull market. Dogelon on Mars, we saw what happened to that in the previous bull market. Baby Dogecoin, we saw what happened to that in the previous bull market. Tsuka hasn't seen a bull market yet.
But Zach, stop right there, because you're right. I want to nail a point home. Look at the drop off. 249 million market cap to 83 million. Right. And it goes to, I think, directly to your heart of what you're saying. No bull run has been seen for Tsuka. These guys have all participated in that.
I think right now you have Tsuka and Volt and then you have a big drop off. I mean, because I just don't look at, all due respect here to Shiba Predator and some of the other ones here, but I just don't see them in the same vein as I see Tsuka right now, just because Tsuka has sustained this level for a while. And just recently, guys, they were over $100 million market cap not too long ago, just about a month ago or so. So,
and I want to add one thing here. So if you look at the top 10 list that you were going through, all of them have something to do with Elon, right? And I think that's what makes everything unique, except for Tsuka, and right below Tsuka, Volt Inu. And I think that's what is going to make it a little tricky, and it's going to be also exciting at the same time. It's because if Elon sends out a tweet, Shiba Inu, Dogecoin, Floki, all Dogelon Mars, Baby Doge, all of those Doge inspired tokens are going to go up. Like, we just know that there's 100% correlation on that. But I think the fact that Tsuka has nothing to do with, it does with the Shiba Inu thing, but it has nothing to do with Elon necessarily, because there's no affiliation for the general market. I think that's what's going to make it kind of unique, in that what is going to be the driver for Tsuka's bull run outside of a global crypto bull run, if that makes any sense.
So let's talk about, here we go. So let's talk about what Tsuka released yesterday. I want your guys' opinion on this. So we mentioned earlier the utility is the community. We know that, and that's truly a massive utility. But this came out yesterday, and talking about utility, and I want to get your guys. So the first 4 or 5 paragraphs are kind of communal and why they're doing this, and this is the first glimpse into some utility that we're starting to see. This is the Medium article that came out. If you don't know where this is, if you go to, by the way, there's links in the description below. If you go to, if you want to check this out, if you go to Tsuka's Twitter page, it's right here. It's this pinned tweet. You can find the link to what I'm showing you. But if you basically look at this green highlighted here component, I'll read, a couple things here. So shares of the first 100% Tsuka focused protocol, funded, created by the community, which again, Pop, goes back to what you talked about. It's everything. All the utility is funded and created by the community. There is no centralized dev organization like we have with SHIB. Aims to become the liquidity black hole. A coin like Tsuka needs to become the reserve currency of DeFi without liquidity farming gimmicks and unsustainable APRs. A protocol that can further the mission of making Tsuka a base pairing for all cryptos. A protocol that can provide funding and support for projects and devs that are aligned with the mission of decentralization we feel so is important today, now more than ever. A protocol that ends our reliance on centralized systems. So Pop, since I've been kind of going with you as a lead off, what's your opinion of this protocol? What's your 2 cents on this first glimpse into maybe the forthcoming first piece of utility? And
it's definitely
no
worries. It's definitely unique. I actually haven't read into it myself till right now when you showed it, but I personally haven't heard of something this liquidity black hole. A coin like Tsuka needs to become. So I don't know. It seems very unique. There definitely is a need for it. So I think the fact that, and it's funny because you mentioned earlier, you said this is all community funded. I remember when I did my first sponsored video for Tsuka, I was like, today's video is sponsored by the Tsuka team. Wait, no, it's not the Tsuka team. It's just the community. So
it's the community.
It is. It's the community. So it's very unique. And I think, again, with these utilities, and oftentimes what we're seeing in crypto, honestly, is we saw it in 2021, play to earn game. People try to just copy each other and do the exact same thing for utilities that are already out there. So the fact that they're doing something that I personally have never heard about, That already makes me intrigued.
Dude, that was a big statement that I hadn't really thought about. That, 2021, 2022 was I'll just copy what those guys did. But
Metaverse.
yeah,
Metaverse.
but you said it yourself. You kind of looked at that and you're like, okay, protocol, what is it? Black hole for, liquidity black hole, like Tsuka needs to become the reserve currency of DeFi. There's still, what I like about this is you can read it, and I've read it now 3 times. You can read it and you go, okay. There's still being a little bit opaque about what it is and what this is going to look like. And I actually kind of applaud that. So Zach, what's your 2 cents, man?
I think DGen lawyer there is onto something in the chat. Has there been? I think that's kind of what they're getting at. But you're right. They're kind of just they're giving you a sneak peek, but they're really not divulging everything yet. But I think they are trying to create their own kind of digital economy, and SHIB's kind of doing that in their own way. Like they're doing it through a metaverse, and now they want to bring in real life businesses, and they want to also, obviously Shibarium is the huge piece to that puzzle, like creating their own network. So I think Tsuka is probably going to do something in that same vein, but they're going to do it their way, right?
So I want to stop on DGen's comments here about thoughts about a full DeFi ecosystem. So what do you personally, I'm more of a fan of a single token ecosystem. And I know that's not how SHIB is doing things, but I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts about a multi-token ecosystem? I think personally, it ends up, we've seen it like now there's the bone maxis and the leash maxis with the Shiboshis. Yeah. It kind of starts to create this kind of like division amongst the community. And oftentimes I think it's less productive than more. So I don't know what your guys' thoughts are though.
I'll go first as far as leaning into that that's a good question. I think it's a really good question. I've never believed in being a maxi anything, right? I don't understand being a Bitcoin maximalist. I get it. I mean, there's part of me that I get it. And there's Ethereum maximalists and, so forth and so on. So how I look at, like, for example, the Shiba Inu ecosystem, could you have had the Shiba Inu token be the gas token as well for Shibarium? I mean, there's 2, yes, you probably could, but I think from a utility standpoint, obviously that's why they did that. Now Treat and those other things, I mean, we'll see how that all evolves. But what you're saying and what we're seeing as far as maybe from Tsuka is that they're going to stay a single token ecosystem. I think that's kind of where you're going with that, right? And here's the ironic thing, Pop, if they do that, they will be unique in that capacity, right? So poke holes in that. Zach, go ahead.
Honestly, I can't. I was going to say it almost exactly. I like that. I mean, because you're right. I mean, the question of like, do you need a separate governance token / gas token? You see a lot of like projects have a gas token or a governance token that maybe acts as the same, and then the actual utility token. Could you use the same? Like, what are the pros and cons of that? Like, could you have maybe a stable coin in your ecosystem? We've heard of that, like coming with SHIB. Are they actually going to do that? Is it going to be an algorithmic stable coin? Some of that hasn't worked in the last couple years.
Staying the hell away from stable coins.
Right. But Cardano just released I always screw this up. Jed. I always say, I was saying DJed for a while and people were making fun of me. Jed. But they did some like weird thing where like they over collateralized it to the point where it has to stay in this range. And so far it's worked. So like maybe there's something there that somebody hasn't tapped into to create an algorithmic stablecoin that works, right? I mean, obviously Terra Luna's didn't, but I don't know. I'm kind of just going off on a tangent here, but it's interesting.
It's a good question, Pop. I mean, that's why I always like that. You bring, it's a really you make us think.
Yeah, I mean, it's just picking your brains. And I just noticed Zach's shirt says "End Fiat." Where'd you get that shirt? That's actually kind of cool.
That's the Bitcoin Miami shirt. So it's on the back. It says,
okay.
This is the sweet. Yep. This was the shirts they gave out in our goodie baskets last year at the Miami event, which was awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
But a lot of Bitcoin maxis there, Austin. So that's it was kind of crazy. But
I mean, but speak to that. That's a good point, right? I mean, I've never really been around a group of, say, Bitcoin maxis. And it's like Bitcoin. And because it goes kind of to the heart of what Pop's talking about, right? You see, I mean, I don't think. I mean, there are now to Pop's point. There are now bone Maximus.
Right.
I'm like, I don't get that. I mean, diversification, right? So go to speak to that, Zach.
Yeah. It's interesting. I mean, one thing I'll say about them, they're very smart. They're very prepared to explain to you why Bitcoin is the only answer and there is no other competing currency. They're very prepared to argue their points, and they really simplify it. They just buy Bitcoin. They don't sell Bitcoin. They don't trade. They just buy Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Like literally like that. And they'll tell you that. Like, it was interesting. I learned a lot from their perspective. I mean, for sure. And a lot of them have been in Bitcoin since the beginning, and they've just been buying, and a lot of them mine as well, so, but it was interesting getting their philosophy. There weren't a lot of people in DeFi there, but it was still cool being there.
Yeah. All right, let's jump back over to Tsuka here real quickly. So, Pop, you look like you're going to say something, or is that just your look of deep thought?
No, not really. I was going to add to, you said diversification, right? So
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, I'm also against the whole maxi idea. And so recently I became an accredited investor, which basically just means with the SEC, I can start investing in early stage startups, right? Regular companies that aren't public yet, but you can just buy them at very low valuations. It's very similar to the meme coin or degen space.
Yeah.
Like copy paste, because it's like you're getting it at sub $1 million market caps, right? For these companies or valuations. And you're taking a big risk because it's like, here's the roadmap. Here's what I'm like, this is literally what I've been doing in crypto for like the last couple of years. And the most interesting part is their home runs are anywhere between a 10 to 50x. If you can do a 10 to 50x over a 3 to 4 year period, you're doing pretty well for yourself. But what they told me at the very beginning, as becoming this accredited investor, if 1 out of every 10 do well, you are going to be fine. So I think a lot of the times in crypto, right, people are right now looking at Tsuka, looking at SHIB, looking at all these different altcoins and cryptocurrencies, and even tokens that, we independently talk about on our separate channels, from sponsorships or non-sponsored content.
Yep.
The fact is 1 out of every 10, if 1 of 10 can do really well, you need to understand that you are actually beating a lot of other investors, or the mainstay of investors that are out there, the conventional investor, if you will. So I don't know, when I started learning about these kind of things, I'm like, in crypto, it just, instead of 3 to 4 years, we're expecting that 3 to 4 days for a return. Right?
Yeah,
so,
maybe. Yeah.
It's based off like just the pressure and what we've seen in the bull run. So I think it's been unique, and I'm like, yeah, I guess this is kind of it. But now we're seeing these like rug pulls in the stock market, right? All these banks that are failing, and I'm like, it's funny how the script has flipped, and now they're coming for crypto though. All right.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's so unique.
Zach and I have an ongoing discussion around this, and I'm curious to get your opinion on this, Bob. I mean, to me, the government and the the White House issuing their statement about crypto, right? And you can't turn on or read anything mainstream media with. You go to Yahoo Finance today, right now, there's going to be some type of a derogatory piece of content about crypto, right?
Yeah.
And et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And, the SEC and the CFTC, the Binance, everything, if you add all that up, to me, what it really is, it's money, power, and those different variables, right? The government wants to control it. They don't like the decentralized nature of it, and they want to make money off of it. And they could, from a taxation standpoint or whatever it is, and they haven't gotten their arms around it. So when it's like they want to attack it first, right? And then once we figure out how we can tax it, make money, and all these kind of different things. Because I mean, I saw a deal the other day that Senator Warren wants to reintroduce her bill that effectively gets rid of decentralized wallets like Trust Wallet and MetaMask. I'm like, oh my God, it's like, but the point was, and what she was saying about it was because these wallets are used for nefarious purposes. Whereas the article went on to talk about the fact that only about $10 billion on a given year is used for, of crypto, right? Versus $1 trillion of fiat money, but nobody's talking about that. But meanwhile, let's get rid of these wallets, these decentralized wallets.
Yeah. No, it's true. And I think the funniest thing, earlier I sent out a tweet saying if I was the Federal Reserve right now, I'd be buying Bitcoin, right? And I think if you want control over anything, just you're not going to be able to control it, first of all. But second of all, just grab a piece of the pie and see what happens. Like they can
do
buy
you know
a lot of
that the
BTC.
government has 205,000 Bitcoin right now?
They're like the fourth or fifth largest whale, I believe.
Fourth largest holder
the
of
US,
Bitcoin.
the US government?
Yes.
Because of Silk Road and like other major
Bitfinex.
Yep.
Bitfinex,
Bitfinex, I think. Yeah.
Oh, so the confiscated tokens.
Yep.
Now they hold it.
And they're
Wow, I did not know that.
205. The U.S. government has 205,000 billion Bitcoin. They control 1% of the circulating supply of Bitcoin, worth 5.8 billion. Well, now worth more because Bitcoin's gone up a little bit, but yeah. And
So
but meanwhile, let's attack crypto.
They need to dollar cost average and buy more.
It's like, oh my god,
Yeah.
They're trying to lower that price.
I'm interested to see what happens with China now, allowing people to start buying major cryptocurrencies after the big ban for like the last decade.
Yep.
It's gonna be unique. I think it's gonna be pretty awesome. And I don't know. I'm optimistic, but again, we're gonna see some regulatory
videos, Austin. I don't even watch my own videos. So once I get it out there, it's gone.
It's funny, but I look at the title. I'm like, what's Austin talking about? It's random days. It's not every day. But random days, I'll be like, what's Austin up to? I remember, especially when you and your wife were doing it. I was watching all of those.
Oh yeah, we got to get back to that. I haven't been able to get her back on camera. Like, how are you, baby? Anyway.
And same for Zach though too. So
yeah, Zach, what do you got here? What is this you wanted to show me? Do you see what is? Oh, it's how to buy. It's how to buy Tsuka. So obviously we're all over the place, but this is mostly a Tsuka. But yeah, that's where you can buy it. So go ahead, Zach. You're in control.
No, that was all. And I was just going to, kind of go into some of the volume. So like they just got listed on, I always botch this name too. I always say Polyonex, but I don't think that's it. What is it? Poloniex?
I pronounce that as Polyonex too.
I say Polyonex, but I've heard Poloniex or something. So either way.
You know what's funny? Wait. Actually, before I pronounced it, I watched your video, Zach. To listen
and I said Polyonex. So you might just
copy what you said.
Because I went and looked at somebody else, and I'm like, oh shit, I think I said that wrong.
Yeah.
But they just got listed there, and look at the volume there. Just in the last day, almost 1 million, and they've got 3 million in volume today. So 1/3 of their volume coming in from that new exchange. They're listed on Gate too, and a couple big ones, but there's a lot of big ones still to get. So that's another just thing to
MXC. That's
MXC and Bitmart.
So we got somebody here, Pop, asking about, let's see, what was this? Thoughts on Tsuka's tokenomics. So Pop, I'm going to throw you into that proverbial bus first.
Sorry,
if you want to speak to that.
So Tsuka's tokenomics, I mean, it's pretty simple, right?
Pretty simple.
No buy tax, no sell tax. There's nothing like it's just like SHIB where there's no type of, there really isn't anything. There's no money going to a liquidity pool. There's
none. Zero.
Renounced contract, liquidity is burned. Everything that checks off for a token, like it makes it the most ideal token. Yeah, one Tsuka equals one Tsuka. Exactly.
Yeah, that's why I threw the question out there. I wanted to see you squirm a little bit. You're like, well, wait a minute, it's just pretty straightforward.
Yeah. So Tsuka has, I think,
none.
Yeah. Nothing. Because again, the team, there's no team. There's a person who created the contract and just disappeared, just like SHIB. And it's probably the same person, Ryoshi.
Lots of
I say probably because I don't know. I wish there was a way for me to say I am certainly sure, but there's a lot of proof that it is him.
Yeah, no, all of the on-chain proof and all that stuff, I completely concur. Yeah. So Zach, what you want to?
I'm just curious. Did anybody in the chat get in at their all-time low at 0.002? Because if so, you're up 3,363%.
That's a good question. Is there anybody here? Drop in the chat if you got in at the all-time low. All you got to do is say yes. That's all you got to do. We don't want to know how much you bought or anything like that. But yeah. So Pop, aren't you kind of looking like we should go back and go to that when you get contacted you in like June?
Yeah. I wish. There's too many I wishes though, right? Like, if only I could, but I don't know. We're always on the lookout. I'm still excited for the future of Tsuka. I think it's looking like it's going to do well. I'm optimistic. I have a pretty decent position. So I'm excited to see where it goes. Most definitely. I got in Mr. James, huh?
Mr. James got in at 0.022, man. Yeah. I mean, here's the funny thing. I think what I've said this in my videos, and I think you guys, a couple of us have said it, but I think since we all have covered, I mean, I built my channel on Shiba Inu. I know, Pop, you've covered it at length, Zach, as well. And I started covering SHIB in May of 21, and I wish I would have bought. I did buy. I wish I would have bought way more, right? But really, what I'm saying is to be there early. But Pop, you said something earlier about like investing in 1 out of 10, right? You were talking about traditional investments, but then you transitioned over into kind of this scenario, and I think that does hold true. I want to go back to that because, for every SHIB that made it, there was 30 others that nobody doesn't even talk about anymore, right?
Yeah, exactly. If we go back to 21, there's Mononoke. The list is just so long. The list is so long for all the projects that didn't.
And what was the one that got really big, but now it's kind of, oh man, I could see it.
Shinja got really hit over $1 billion.
Yeah.
Shinja was big. I remember. You know what's funny is the funniest thing to me is end of 2021, end of 2022. My accountant was like, "You're holding all these tokens that are almost worthless. Why don't you take the loss on them?" And I was like, "But then that'd be dumping the tokens, right?" I was like, "I don't think that's kind of frowned upon in crypto." But she was like, "But can't you just buy them right back for the same price that you sold them at?" Like, that's a good point. And then I was like looking back at charts, and I was like, "So that makes sense when you see that big red candle followed by a big green candle." Is this someone selling their position and buying it right back? I remember I was like, yeah, it's kind of sad because the valuation of where the tokens were once and versus where they are now, it's like thousands of dollars that were they're just gone. Sad.
Yeah. I mean, Zach, what's your 2 cents? And then we've got a really important question for you, Zach. Are you associated with the SHIB team?
No.
Come on, Zach. It's time you doxed, man. Come on. It's time you doxed.
No, I am not Ryoshi. Well, we are all Ryoshi, but I am not Shitoshi.
You're really Shitoshi. I mean, let's call it right now.
No, absolutely not. I'm just a talking head on YouTube.
Okay.
But no, I think you guys are right. I mean, if you can get a couple big wins, it really sets you up because for me, like that allowed me to then like diversify into the bigger cryptos that like I once couldn't afford. Like, you know what I mean? I couldn't get a full Bitcoin. I couldn't get a full ETH like when I first was getting started, but then you had a couple wins in the small micro cap space, meme coin space. Now it allows you to like create a backbone in your portfolio. That's something I always talk about. Like create a backbone. For me, it's Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, right? And for other, whatever that looks like for you, make that a good chunk of your portfolio. Now you can like allocate a certain percent to go hunting for the next gem. And all you need is another big hit. You're just trying to get one big hit out of, let's say 10 or 15 you get into and have a budget, have a plan, and you're going to get a hit. You're going to get a hit or two. I mean, that's how it works, But I think so often people go all in on that one, right? And then, oh my gosh, it's all gone. Crypto sucks. I'm getting out of here. This ain't for me.
Yeah. And the big part of being like now this accredited investor is I'm learning so much from it. And I'm just hoping to apply, and I have been applying those same those ideals and how they run things into the crypto space. So basically there are 2 things that are required to be an accredited investor is either making $250,000 in a year or having $1 million in a bank account. So if you're making $250K, which if you're in crypto, make a content creator and that kind of thing, it's very reasonable to be somewhere around there. So the funny thing is with a $250,000 annual salary, the maximum money you can put into a company is $5,000. You have a cap. So I think in crypto, if that means it's $100 for every project that you're willing to put in and expect no return, it changes the game for sure.
Pop, is there a max of how many companies you can invest $5,000 in?
You can invest in 500 companies if you wanted to. So it's just like crypto. It's the degen space in crypto. It's this early stage, or just the entire crypto market is expect to invest in a lot of different tokens, a lot of different projects, right? We see them in our favorite list right now on Dex Tools. If you pull up anyone's Dex Tools that's here, you'll see some of the projects that we're probably all invested in or looking into. And then from there, you kind of decide when to start selling and to take profits. And that's the thing that differentiates private equity, or like going into, or just basically getting into some of these projects from in the private sector, in the stock market, or companies that are pre-public, pre-IPO,
Yep.
versus cryptos, you get to decide when you want to sell. With the SEC, you cannot decide when you want to sell. You have to do it at scheduled intervals, or at times that are predispositioned or decided. So crypto gives you so much freedom, man. And I'm learning that, and the money that you're able to make in crypto, you can't really make it in any other market.
Here's what I'd like to combine both of what you just said and really summarize it, right? It's like, okay, because Zach, you hit on you hit on a very key component. It's be diversified and own the blue chips. And let's say you have $10,000. Let's just say that you can, whatever number.
Yep.
I think we all readily agree that 60, 70+% of that, give or take, whatever ratio is, it's blue chips, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, any variation on that theme, and maybe a little bit more. And then if you're going to go and invest in the new stuff that's come out, you should find the ones like Tsuka that it's been out 8 months, has a great looking chart. But then you start to put smaller allotments there, where you're trying to find that 1 or 2 out of 10 that might do it. But I think Zach, you said it, don't go all in on just one. I think if you should be diversified. And I think that's all I got to say on that. If you want to add any of that.
I think I agree. And said this way too, Austin, let's say you have some money in the blue chips, but you have 5K that you want to, throw some darts at some low caps. A lot of people will take that 5K and they'll go into one Twitter space and be like, this is the one. This is the one. And I'm going all in with 5K in there.
No.
Now imagine if you put 500 into 10 of them.
Yep.
Or
that's what I would do. That's what I would do.
Right. Wait, what's the math there? Don't do math in public.
That's it. You're right. That's it.
Now you've got 10 shots, right? Yeah. I mean, who knows? You might get one that 20Xs and one that 10Xs, and now it's like, okay. And then you just keep slowly growing that bankroll. And every time you get a hit, put a little bit in the blue chip, put a little bit in the blue chip, a little bit in the blue chip.
Yep. Well, and then to your point, Zach, or I think Pop said it, have a plan. Have a plan. When it starts, when you, and there's a simple one, you put $500 into Tsuka and it doubles, take your basis out. Then it doubles again, take another 500 out, whatever, that's something that's a very simple profit taking strategy. And Pop, you said something earlier and I missed this. Tubba, the largest doxed whale associated with Tsuka, is outlined an exit strategy, which I think is amazing. I actually didn't know that. I missed that somewhere.
Yeah.
That's cool as hell.
No, it is. And it was on my AMA. They actually talked about it. So they talked about a lot of the communities like, well, Tubba's going to dump on us one day. He has to take profits. He's putting a lot of his own money, like over $1 million, maybe a couple $1 million of his own money into Tsuka. So he kind of mentioned, for him, the only way for him to actually be able to sell is what happened with Shiba Inu, a bull run where you have a bunch of new investors, a bunch of retail investors, and even people in crypto flocking into the crypto project or the cryptocurrency. Mm-hmm. And from there, you have a volume of hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, where a 5 ETH, 10 ETH, 20 ETH, 30 ETH sell looks like nothing, right? So it is, because at the end of the day, this market is a zero-sum game like anything else. There's a winner and there's a loser, period.
Yeah.
So just got to figure out how to strategize. And I think we're all still trying to learn, like, what is the best way to take profits? And I always like to take my initial out, and now I'm comfortable. I don't have risk in the market.
Yep.
And if I'm able to make money off after that, great. If I'm not, so be it.
I concur. Absolutely. I concur. So obviously, some of the team members were going to try to make it, but this has been awesome. That we've just been hanging out talking about this. They said they may not be able to, but we've covered a lot of ground. We're coming up on 50 minutes, so let's. I'm going to give like a 10-minute call here. Let's see. So Tubba ain't leaving until $3. That would be. I would love to see Tsuka get to $3. I don't know if the numbers work, but that would be awesome.
The all-time high is what, 25 cents, 24, 25 cents.
Yeah.
That's a 3x from here. And what was the market cap there? 130. Okay, I'm not going to try to do this.
Well, no, if it got Yeah.
Okay, so if it got to 1.2 billion, that's $2.40, 10x, right? Yeah. So a little over a billion.
Yeah.
We're getting close.
Oh yeah, there you go. Wow, I wouldn't have even tried that, Zach. I would have screwed that up, man. So
I hope I might have. Somebody in chat, let me know if
somebody check it.
I might have botched that.
Yeah, I think
Let me see if there's any other comments here. I've got a lot, but I think this has been a good conversation. I mean, and now we had to, I want to talk about this right here. So Tom dropped this in. Tubba, top holder of Tsuka, confirmed a development of a fiat on-off ramp through the UK with an FCA regulated payment provider. Have heard a little bit about that. We could have some additional utility coming. I want to get a little bit more meat and clarification, but I have heard a little bit about that. That could be interesting. So either of you want to add anything to that, or say, take that as a comment?
I definitely botched the thing. So Redding is right. Yeah. So at $3, it'd be 3 billion.
There you go.
So it's easy math.
3 billion. Gotcha. And
Don't-
I think
don't-
the
don't
fiat
say.
on ramp, off ramp, anytime you make it easier for someone to get into a cryptocurrency, it just makes access that much easier, right? That was the big thing for SHIB at first. Like, wait, how do I get the Shiba Inu token? Oh, crypto.com. That's like when I first got in, it was only crypto.com. That's the place to go. But before that, August 2020. And I think that's where we're all so lucky for this next bull run is we know how to use MetaMask now. We know how to use Uniswap. We know how to get those ERC20 tokens at sub, prior to any CEX listing. So that's where the biggest upside is. You're taking the biggest risk at an early stage, but look at the team, look at the roadmap, see what's happening. If it looks good, maybe it's worth taking that risk.
And spread the risk.
And spread it.
And spread it. And really, truly, again, look for projects like Tsuka that have a fantastic chart, right? I mean, that have been around the proverbial block a little bit. I mean, I'm going to keep coming back to this. This is when we first looked at this, I'm like, that's a good looking chart. It's not, it has movement. It has higher highs, higher lows, and all those different components. So yeah. Go ahead, Zach.
3 things. The alpha was what was just up on screen. That Tsuka meant, or no, that you had Tom's comment up. Yeah, that was the alpha. And then Foxy, don't do math in public. You know what that reminded me of? So I was thinking of doing this. Do you guys think I should do this? Do you guys think I should make a video? I want to make a video and do my best impression of like 10 creators. Just do like 10 seconds. I've been practicing a little bit. I kind of want to do it because I know how Pop starts his video. I know some Austin Hiltonisms. I know some.
Hey, how you doing, Austin? Here.
Hey, how you doing, Austin? Here. Yeah.
Yep, I could do a Chad Redding beginning of his video. Yeah. You ready? Like, welcome back to another Shiba Inu coin video. Right? He always does, like I think I got everybody's kind of start down. I think I want to like do a little montage, maybe just throw it up on Twitter or something.
Well, this Zach's like, hey, welcome back to the channel.
Yeah, see, I think that'd be hilarious.
I would love that.
I don't know. I think that'd be cool.
We would all get a kick out of it. I don't know.
I think Rodney's intro is one of my favorites.
Yeah. Yep.
What does he do? Get good, Zach, or one of you.
I'm not gonna try, but
hold on. I'm trying to think. Hold on. Let me see.
He just moves his head a lot and he's moving his arms.
Welcome back, everybody. My name is Rodney. Right? Something like that. Something like
That's
that.
awesome.
Something like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And then Pop's like, okay, hold on, wait, let me think. Pop's like very cool, calm, collective, but I'm just trying to put you on the plays that I am in. Like, but I could put one together probably in like 20-25 minutes for sure.
I'd love that. That would be pretty awesome.
Who else?
Oh, look at this. You could just sleep through Austin's. Man, Angela, I don't need your, throwing shade at me,
Oh, man.
But what's funny? We all have these little sayings that we are just part. Like I watched a video of mine. I didn't realize I said right a fairly high amount. I'm like, so right. You're right. I'm like,
no. You say right here, right now.
Oh yeah. Right here, right now.
Right here, right now. This is where we're at with Bitcoin. Bitcoin's hovering at 26,000 right here, right now. Oh, I could do a montage of a bunch of people's stuff.
Dude, I love it.
That's funny. All right. Wow, that's good stuff. All right, let's wrap up. Final thoughts. Pop, I'm gonna throw you under the bus since I've been going to you first. Okay. What's your final thoughts on Tsuka, and what do you see kind of for the for the future with them?
I'm very excited for Tsuka, not as just a ambassador of the community, because I can't even say of the team, but just working alongside the community, just the future of what they have, what they're building, what they've already created as just a community. It's something special, and it prepares them for the next bull run. So super bullish, super excited. And again, things like Mr. James mentioned today about maybe it was not Mr. James, I think it was Tom, but he mentioned about the fiat. It's just basically having faith in the community, and especially those who are leading it, like Tubba and some of the others, because again, he's investing a pretty penny into this project, millions and millions of dollars. And someone like him, he doesn't have to do that. He has his Bored Apes, he has his real estate all over. Like he's doing fine, but he just believes in this community and project, and he thinks it's going to have a very nice payout for everyone. So
yeah,
I'm excited.
Zach.
I think for me, this is a sweet spot community token. It's not too big. It's not too small. We always talk about kind of like mitigating our risk, like what's your risk appetite? For me, this is kind of like right in the wheelhouse. There's still a lot of upside, but it's solidified itself. It's been around almost a year now, so there's not a ton of risk associated with it. We know it's being built. We know the community behind it. That's why I like it. And that's really what drew me in initially. And that's what I always kind of go back to.
Yep. Yeah, those are fantastic points. I think I'll add that I'm going to kind of juxtapose it against SHIB, right? With SHIB has a centralized development organization, and we've seen pros and cons associated with that. And what I love about when we first came into Tsuka and we got introduced to them, and we were not meeting with a centralized dev. We were meeting with community team members that had a vested interest, and they wanted to grow the brand and grow the following. And they're like, we need y'all's help. And in that context, that was completely unique. I've been doing this a while now, and Pop, you've been doing it longer than me. I've never seen that. I've never seen community members say, okay, we want to go out and start recruiting influencers, et cetera. Right. I've never seen that. And everybody I've ran across and dealt with on the Tsuka community team member side, all been extremely professional, all been, we want to do everything we can for the community, the holders, to grow this. That's why they waited this long to start really thinking about utility. And, and I know they've been talking about it along the way, right? But it's some completely unique. And I've seen, and we've all looked at a lot of projects, and I think that they have the staying power to go the distance. And I put my own money in, and I know Zach did. I know your Pop, you did as well. And I'm going to keep buying because I think that these guys are going to go the distance. That's my 2 cents. There you go. That's another one I do. My 2 cents. I do that one.
My 2 cents. Now go make some money.
Now go make some money. You got to have your catchphrase. You got to have your catchphrase.
I don't think I have one.
You got to get one. Pop,
we'll see you in the next video. That's what I said. We'll see you in the next video. That's mine.
Pop, how do you end the video?
Until next time, everybody, keep investing.
Keep investing. Yeah.
Go make some money. Yeah. Zach,
Zach. I said we'll see you in the next video. Yeah. Is that enough?
That might be it. That's ring to it.
Hopefully they'll come back, right?
So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to throw Zach under the bus here. Zach, you have to take us out with your sportscaster voice, and you got to give us a good us home. Oh, I know. This is why I'm doing
how hard this is to do, to just turn this on.
I know. That's why I do it. That's why I do it. Okay. Oh no, here it is. Appreciate you guys. That's I guess
that's a way to send this out.
Appreciate you guys. Yeah, that is Zach's.
Is that appreciate you guys?
Appreciate you. Yeah, I guess I do say that. You don't even know what you say.
Yeah.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you.
Oh, come on, man. You took the easy way out.
Well, it's better to do an intro. Outro is kind of like, because I could be like, in the right corner, wearing the black vest with the red undershirt.
Yeah.
Coming in out of Dallas, Texas, with a record of 26-2. He stands at 5'8", 178 pounds. The undisputed middleweight champion of the world, Austin.
Now you gotta do Pop. If you're gonna do me, you gotta do Pop. So
like that. Hilton.
That's funny. All right, this has been awesome, guys. So thanks for everybody who stopped by. We had 200 plus people, as far as I could see. We had a bunch of people on Zach's channel.
It's on Zach's too.
Yeah, Pop, we need to get you hooked up where we can.
I should have been streaming this. That's my bad.
We can stream to your channel too, dude. So we start.
If you get StreamYard, we can do all three. We can all be.
Okay. Good to know. I did not know that.
Yeah. So we'll do that. So, All right. Thanks, guys, for coming by and hanging out with us. I think, again, do your own due diligence, but all links to everything Tsuka down below. Check it out for yourself. Run it through your own due diligence. But we'll see you down the road. Ooh, that's a new one. I'll have to get that one. We'll see you down the road.
There
All
you
right.
go.
See you. Bye.
Peace.